All right, so every time you go into WeVideo, just go to WeVideo.com. It's going to take you here to your dashboard. What you should always do every time you are starting a new project, and that's what you're doing today, go to the Projects tab and then come down here to the plus sign. That will create a new project. Give that project a title. I'm going to call this 30 clips in 30 seconds. I'm actually going to add intro to the end of that because that's what this is. You don't have to put a description, but project type, click on personal, click on next. You're going to add your media later, so click next. Then click on create video. Okay, from there, that'll show you your editor down here, and then your clips that you're going to import are going to go over here. So to import, go over to the import button, and then you must click on import from social sites. This is the easiest way to get your stuff from shared drive into WeVideo. So click there, click on share drives. I'm going to jump into footage. I'm going to jump into archives, meaning the old stuff, and then go into last year.
But you can pull from any video you want. I just went to last year's archives.
Okay, now what you would want to do is have a good idea of what clips you want to import. If you are on preview or thumbnail grid view like this, that shows you a preview of what clip you're inserting. If you're on list view, that really doesn't do you any good because a lot of these names are not very descriptive. They're just generic file names from the camera. Now, what you could do, once you go back to grid view, you can do different sort options. So by default, it does last modified. If you want to see the ones that you've already opened, the ones that you looked at on your own before, you can click on last opened by me, and that would show the ones that you most recently previewed back over into Google Drive. Or, I mean, you can do whatever. Name totally doesn't matter. That is up to you. So what I'm going to do is select a variety of clips, meaning we don't want the same clip over and over again of the same people or the same scenes in our news intro. We want to have a good capture of the whole school and what the atmosphere is like at CAMS, or at least what it was like back before we wore masks and all that. But anyway, you would select your clips by clicking on it, holding down the control key on your keyboard, and that will highlight in blue your different clips. Now, you are required to have 30. What I would do is click and select and insert more than 30. That way you have more to choose from. Now, you could always go back in and add them later, but I like to add more at one time. Okay. Now, don't just click the ones that are on top, go through and click, like I said, a variety with a variety of people. You can always scroll down and find more later. I don't want you to be lazy with this. I really want you to be creative because the more clips you have, the more work you can do with them to make this look better. So I'm going to stop. I haven't been counting. I can count them up later. I'm going to let go of the control key on my keyboard. Notice as I scroll through, the ones I selected are still selected blue. I will click the blue select button, and then what it will do is import those clips here into WeVideo. Now, it's probably going to take a while if you're doing a lot, so be patient. Maybe in the meantime, head over into that other tab and keep looking through those videos. Then come back to WeVideo and check on that later. But here you can count how many clips you had inserted before. Now, for this project, you are able to insert all kinds of clips.
You can get different sports videos, videos around cams, drone footage, you name it.
Let me show you how to edit now. Okay, so this is your editor. You've got your layers. You're going to be adding music later. I'll show you that in another video. But I'm going to put everything in video 1 right now. So I'm going to take this clip of Taylor, Vaughn, and Zoe, drag it down. Now you can use the space bar on your keyboard to play. That's what I'm going to do right here. And I only want a segment of that, like literally a second. So I'm going to split that clip. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just so I can kind of see what I'm working with here. Clip that. And now I'm just going to delete this other stuff. So click on it, backspace or delete key on your keyboard. And this shows you increments of, it looks like I'm in 5 seconds as you drag over like that. Then it's in 2 seconds. But anyway, you want this to be really short. That's really short. So it's going to go from that to something else now. I'll get this clip of Mr. McLean and Danny.
On a scale of 1.
All right, so I'm gonna just
1 to 10, how would you
find a good
rate your
spot.
basketball skills?
I like the clip of Mr. McLean talking here, so I'm gonna just split that, get rid of the beginning, and then I'm gonna drag this over. Again, it helps if you're zoomed out, so notice I'm sliding it over here. I want to get just a really quick clip.
Can we go into negatives or?
So I'm going to split it, delete it. Now you want to pull out the audio. You don't want any sound because all you're going to be using is music and video. So we're going to take this video track and mute it all the way down. That's the easiest way of doing that. So there we go. He's on there for a little bit too long, but that's okay. Now I'm going to go in and grab another scene. Maybe students in Mr. Haynes' music class last year doing the cup song. So bam, cut it. So this is what you're going to do. You're just going to be getting a variety of clips and mashing them together to make one big video. Again, 30 clips is your requirement. This is going to be really cool once you get music, and I will show you how to do music in the next lesson. Okay, so here's a little pro tip. I like to take clips and kind of keep them on reserve, meaning I don't really know what to do with them yet, but they're nearby. That way I can work with them. So I like to add another layer that's kind of buried on the bottom and make that a video layer. So easy way to do that. If you just click on your plus sign, make sure you're on video track. You can call it literally anything you want. Click on add track. Then what I might do is select what I have so far just by clicking and dragging. Notice it puts a blue highlight around it. Now I can push those up, and I want to keep this drone footage and kind of keep it on reserve. So like right now when I play that, I got to mute the right layer. I got to mute that one. Okay. I'm going to keep Ethan's layer muted too. Let me just go back. So that video is getting buried under here, but it's there for me to kind of work with if I want to do some stuff, some effects later. And again, I will show you how to do those effects in later videos. Right now, you're just dragging down random clips. You want this to be very fast paced, very quick moving so that you get as many clips crammed into these 30 seconds as possible. Okay, and with this, don't just pick the first few seconds of a clip or the first second of a clip and say that's the part you're going to use. Scroll through it and find a really good part because you want to pick the best part of it that's going to look good. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to get the part where he's singing and playing guitar. So I'm going to cut it, delete the part that I don't want by clicking on it. It's highlighted in orange. Hit the delete key, slide that back. There we go. Clip it. Now delete that last part. So let's see what we've got so far. Bam. Looking good. Kind of want to shorten that up a little bit. Now, what you can do is you can make a clip longer after you have cut it. Let me show you how. You would just take that, and it won't let me drag it because I need to make room for it. So I'm going to drag some of this stuff down, maybe keep some gaps there, and I'm going to extend that just a little bit. Let's check it out. Okay, maybe I want to make it a little bit longer. So even if you cut a clip, you can bring back either the beginning or end of it, depending on where you're at here. So like, let's say I want to bring back the beginning here, bring back the end on this one. There we go. It takes a lot of work, but I'm telling you, the more you do this, the easier it will get. Don't be afraid to get creative. You can play around with effects.
Just click once on the clip and then click FX.
You can play around with your resizing too, because what some students might want to do is they might want to have a bunch of different clips on screen at one time, and you can do that by using scaling.
And you get to this by double clicking on the clip and then click on transform and drag the scale.
These two clips to appear at the same time. This is where it's helpful to have another layer. What you can do is scale it. When you double click on it and you get a transform and you do something like this, now I can have more than one clip showing. As you have watched some of our news intros throughout the school year that were made last year, some of our better news intros had that effect. So you can get as creative with this as you want to, just spending some time playing around with these tools. Let's see how this looks. Okay, so my advice to get started with this assignment is do these things. 1, don't be afraid to just explore and get creative, okay? 2, leave a little bit of space or gap between your clips just for now, because that'll give you some wiggle room to do some things. 3, zoom in, zoom out. Use this slider bar as you go in and more precisely select parts of your clips that you want to target on throughout your video. Another thing is if you want to leave yourself some room at the beginning zoom all the way out, and then select the current clips that you have and just slide it over a little bit to the right. That gives you a little bit of room, because as you go through the clips, you will probably stumble across what you think will be like the perfect opening screen. At first, you might feel like you're looking at like empty space and there's nothing to work with. But as you start playing around and creating and get comfortable with editing, you will come up with some awesome things, I promise you. So until I post the next lesson, just get started by inserting 30 clips or more, or however many you can get right now. Start putting them in the placements that you want them to be in, play around with this a little bit, and then stay tuned for the next lesson where I will be showing you some more editing tricks, and then I will also show you how to get music into your intro, because music is really going to be what makes this thing come to life. So have your clips in and ready so that when I have the next lesson posted, you will be ready to move on to the next step. Have fun with this, guys.